When you get a ticket, you may also get points on your driver's license. And here to tell us what those points can mean for your ability to drive in the future is Attorney Carl Parrish. Thank you so much for joining us. As always, we do appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, so let's get right to it. What are these points and how are they assessed by the DMV?
The DMV has now, as everybody should know, but all of our states have now combined. And so, for example, if you get a ticket in Texas today, it'll be on your record at the DMV probably by tomorrow, the next day. But what they do is they keep up with every ticket you've ever had. If you're 80 years old and you had a DWI when you were 18, they can have that completely put together. It's used as we go through life, usually in courtrooms and things of that nature. But the way that they have done their business down there is just absolutely amazing. So what happens is we come up with the word points. They work the word, that word to the point that says, no offense for that, but comes in to say what is it, for example, with how many do you have? When they get to 12 points, meaning they've gotten a ticket, not a bad one, but got a ticket and pick up 12, that puts it in a position that they'll call them in the DMV office and say, you've got 12 tickets. They can say, well, we'll suspend your license for 60 days, suspend it for 6 months, or they can suspend it for an entire year.
So now, is there any point along the way that they can just automatically suspend your license?
Yes. What happens with that is when anybody that has a driving while impaired, it's an automatic suspension the night that they're arrested. They also, with the speeding aspect of it, that if now they have set it up that if you're going 15 miles driving more than 55 miles an hour in that zone of that nature, likewise they can pull your ticket right on the side of the road. And then if you are driving with your license out, that you do not have them at this point in time, they will suspend them on the spot. If you still have your license in your car, they pull it out, and because they have nothing to drive with, so to speak.
All right, so now can you give us some examples of offenses and the points that you get for them?
It's, we broke it down, and it surprised me to a degree. Littering, that's a 1 point, so in the 3 years, that's 1 for you. Speeding in a school zone is 3. Failing to report an accident is 3 points. Looking or lack of insurance in your car when you're using it, and then most points are if it's failing to yield right away to a pedestrian, that's 4 points. Driving on the wrong side of the road, 4 points. Reckless driving, 4 points. When you add those up, but when you get to 7 points, they call you in and say, okay, we're going to go ahead and suspend it either for 30, 60, or more days at that point in time.
All right, watch those points. Thank you, Carl. We do appreciate it.
Hi, I'm Bill Powers of Powers McCartan, and I'm often asked, what does it mean to have points or motor vehicle points on my license? Now, under Chapter 20, Section 16, there are points assessments that are accounted for the revocation of your driver's license. And I'm going to go through a series of these right now. Probably the most serious one is a DWI, and you use up all 12 points on that one. But the more common things we see are passing a stopped school bus, which carries 5 points. Aggressive driving, which carries with it 5 points. Reckless driving is a 4-point motor vehicle offense. Hit and run with property damage only is 4 points. And following too closely is 4 points. Driving on the wrong side of the road is 4 points. Illegal passing is also 4 points. Failure to yield right away to pedestrian is 4 points. Now, ladies and gentlemen, these are complicated and they carry consequences where you can end up losing your right to drive in North Carolina through the Department of Transportation Division of Motor Vehicles. Please give us a call at Powers McCartan. The consultation is always free as well as confidential.
South Carolina's Department of Motor Vehicles says the purpose of the point system is to help drivers improve bad habits and to protect innocent people from reckless drivers.
By law, certain traffic violations are assigned points. If you're convicted of a traffic violation in South Carolina or any other state, that information will be posted to your record. and too many points could result in license suspension. If you get points on your record, they'll reduce over time. You can also reduce points by completing the National Safety Council's 8-hour defensive driving course. If you hold a beginner's permit or special restricted driver's license and you accumulate 6 or more points, your driving privileges will be suspended for 6 months.
You can check the number of points charged against you and see your 10-year driving record online. We'll have all the information on how to do that over on our website, counton2.com. Reporting in Mount Pleasant, Megan Fee, Count on 2.
Hey, Wallet Hubbers, Matt Charles here. Today, we're going to be talking about driver's license points. Driver's license points are demerits that are added to your driving record when you're convicted of a moving violation. The number of points that are assigned to your license for each violation depends on the seriousness of the infraction. For example, a minor violation like speeding won't result in as many points as a major violation like a DUI. If you accumulate too many points within a certain period of time, your license could be suspended by your state DMV. Each state has its own point system with specific rules and timelines. 9 states don't use points at all, and instead suspend licenses based on the severity of a moving violation or the number of violations on a driver's record. Having points in your record can be worrying, especially if you're on the verge of having your license suspended. Fortunately, there are a few things that you can do to lessen their impact. First, you can take a defensive driving course to reduce the number of points on your record, depending on your state. You can also check your driving record through your state DMV in order to stay away and aware of exactly how many points are on your license. Finally, the best way to diminish the impact of points is to avoid accumulating more. So you should do your best to practice safe driving habits. It's important to note that while points in your license don't directly affect your car insurance rate, the violations that add points to your record will usually cause your premium to go up. If you're struggling to afford car insurance as a result of moving violations, it may be time to switch companies. Luckily, we can help you get you started. To check out Wallet Hub's rankings for the cheapest car insurance companies, just click the button here.
Jeanette Miller, who's a motor offence solicitor. Very good morning. So you specialise in helping people in these situations?
Absolutely.
Just Karen actually has got in touch with us this morning. Asked the question everyone's going to be thinking straight away: how can someone still be on the roads with 62 points? It shows total disregard for the law. There are no circumstances, she says, that should allow this sort of thing to happen. It beggars belief. 62 points and still on the road.
Yeah, I was scratching my head myself how that could have happened, but a court has heard that person's circumstances, and we don't know what they are. And that's the very point. Every court has to consider each individual case on its own facts.
And every time you present to the court, bear in mind 12 is the point at which you lose your licence.
Yeah.
We're talking about 62, but you've represented people with 30 points on the licence. Every time you have to present a different reason. Is that correct?
You can't present exceptional hardship twice on the same facts within a certain period of time.
So the first time I come to court, I say, you know, my mum needs a lift to hospital every Tuesday, but I can't use that again the next time I have more points.
Yeah, I think you'd have to say something a little bit more than that, and ultimately the court has to be satisfied based on evidence. It's not just a bit of a sob story. You can't walk in and say something like that example. There has to be exceptional hardship, and the court will consider whether or not people connected to the offender are likely to be caused hardship. They have to place greater weight on people such as a relative that might need assistance, although visits to hospital once a week is not going to cut it. But they would have to consider whether the hardship would be caused to others, such as an employer or their children, or it can be all manner of things, a doctor and their patients. It could be anything, as long as the court's satisfied it's exceptional hardship. But yes, you couldn't present the same argument twice.
Do you understand Brake's call for 12 points means that's it, there's nothing, there's no appeal? I know it's in your interest to defend these people, but
Well, we're not defending when we're presenting exceptional hardship. We're presenting mitigation, which is different. The person that walks into court and accepts that they've done wrong, but they ask the court to consider what the ramifications of a 6-month ban, which is the starting point for totting up, would be. I think there does need to be, we need to maintain the court's ability to depart from that penalty. I think it can be harsh, in some circumstances. For example, somebody's direct debit lapses and they find themselves with no insurance. There's no defence. That you can't say, I didn't realise, and that will get you out of that. So that's 6 to 8 penalty points. And if that happens a couple of times, then that person very quickly reaches 12 points. It's nothing to do with their driving skill. It can be an administrative oversight. Is it fair that that person then loses their job? I'm not sure it is.